Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What's growing on? What is growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG, the Daily Bread Podcast. I'm John Henry Harris, and we also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics, all for the Black family, for the Black community. Happy Monday. I hope you're doing well. Before we get started, please like, and share. Like and share. Let's grow this conversation. Let's make sure that our community is aware of what is going on with the food, and we know what we eat. Today's story, we're going to talk about fast food. We are proponents of cooking your own food and growing your own food and eating naturally. But what's going on with the fast food industry is an indication of larger things to come. During the lockdown, drive-thrus, as well as, the DoorDash and Uber Eats, home food delivery, that became a real big business. Because during the lockdown, the fast food restaurants and just restaurants in general, they closed their diners for in dining eating. Now because of the labor shortage, the restaurant industry is pointing to the labor shortage, saying that drive-through only may become the new normal. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, is the fact that drive-through only just could become the new normal. Farmer Brown, what do you have to say about these drive-thrus, bro?
First, I just like to say peace to the B1AG family. I smell boiled frog legs, fam. I don't think it's too many fast food joints that sell boiled frog legs, but I feel that I can smell the frogs boiling in this pot. There's this old concept that sometimes frogs don't have the sense to jump out of a burning pot, and so they'll boil to death. When I think about our food security, when I think about our dependence, not everybody, but generally the melanated family's dependence upon the food system as it is, I feel like we're almost putting ourselves in the position of those boiling frogs in the pot. When we think about the vast percentage of us that do get our food from fast food joints or restaurants, I think when you factor in the new mandates, I think you factor in the worker shortage, I think you factor in the supply shortages, I think this is a perfect storm of events that, once again, we're trying to make our case of why we need to grow our own food and get back to the garden. Unfortunately, I look forward to having this conversation. You're on mute, bro.
This report comes from Fox Business, and they're saying the labor crunch caused by the pandemic and freewheeling government stimulus money could change the fast food industry forever. They're saying that restaurants across America, since easing the restrictions, have had a difficulty in finding workers, as job seekers have a record of 11 million jobs to choose from. So they're saying that there's a labor shortage, but there are 11 million jobs for Americans to choose from. Employment in food services and drinking establishments establishments were little changed for a second straight month in September after averaging a monthly gain of 197,000 from January through July, according to the Labor Department's September non-farm payroll report. The industry has nearly 1 million fewer workers than it did in February 2020. Now, they're saying that the labor shortage is creating a domino effect across the industry, according to Kevin Basner, CEO of A&W Restaurants. No manager, then you lose staff to next door, and before you know it, you can't open a restaurant. Now, the reasons that these business leaders in the restaurant industry, they're pointing to for the labor shortage. They said that some workers are hesitant to return to work due to COVID-19, due to fears. Additionally, government policies like child tax credit and increased SNAP benefits may encourage people to stay home. Others, until recently, have been a beneficiary of $300 per week in additional supplemental unemployment benefits. In total, people have $400 billion more in savings than before the pandemic due to all the government's programs.
Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. I give you the problem and I say the solution. I think that's very interesting. Oh, we have 11 million jobs for you. It's only like what 194,000 actually filled. We know everybody on this continent eats, right? And so what you're talking about, this assistance, I remember a lot of the conservative politicians was like, oh, people don't want to go to work because we're giving them all this money. And so as of last month, it was more than 8 million people with no unemployment compensation. And there was another 2.7 million people that lost the $300 federal weekly boost. 2.7 million to 194,000. Something's not adding up. On subject, but off. When I think about the service, say at a Walmart, for example, I had heard an article not too long ago. They were talking about how Amazon and Walmart, their corporations were intentionally set up to make people basically not want to stay there. When we think about these restaurants, a lot of these young folks are woke not in the negative sense, but woke is in, okay, what's my energy return on investment for the time I'm spending your establishment, selling this fast food? What am I going to get in return outside of a paycheck? I can see how, I don't want to give so much of my time working in this fast food, but then you can also see on a corporate level, it is a lot more profitable to have machines doing this work versus people that you have to pay. And so, when you think about any system where you're making money, there's a lot of psychology involved in it. And so I hope the melanated family understands where we're coming from, to where, in my modest opinion, and I don't think I'm wrong, conditions are intentionally set in place to make people not go back to these positions that the already planned solution was, now we'll just come through with these automated services and machines to do these jobs. And what we'll do, we'll get y'all good and used to this $300. It's almost like Pavlov's dog. I'm going to get you used to looking forward to this money that you really didn't have to go out and do anything for in year one, because by year 3 or year 4, it ain't going to be no jobs for you to go to. And the only income you're going to have coming in is what I decide to give you. Could be make-believe, but, nothing. I don't believe in coincidence, fam.
And then these millennials, these companies are having a problem or issues with these millennial workers. He said, according to Andy Puzder, former CEO of CKE Restaurant Holdings, he says that to the business owners he speaks with, they're saying that the work ethic has been damaged by the pandemic. He said fast food restaurants are offering up to $19 an hour and still can't find workers. And when they do, younger workers are saying they don't want to work full-time, nights, or weekends.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Last time I went to a fast food spot, this was a couple months ago. I was in Cleveland. I was away from home. I went to just get some coffee in the morning. I took a walk in the morning to go get some coffee, and it was a young sister. And I walked up, I walked because it was up the street from where I was staying, and I couldn't get the coffee. She's like, "No, you gotta drive through to get the coffee." And so I literally had to walk all the way back to get my car to get the coffee. But saying that to say it was sucky service. It sucked, and the indoor was shut down, because of the restrictions. So saying that to say, my last few times even dealing with fast food, it's horrible service. But, once again, playing devil's advocate to these younger people, some of these people working in these positions, a lot of these are crappy situations where you're dealing with customers that got bad attitudes. People are coming with all sorts of different stressors and traumas that they're bringing to this fast food window. On top of, many of these places are mandating therapies that some of these workers aren't necessarily agreeing to work with. Like, am I going to take this chance? Is it worth $19? Is it worth $20? Is it worth $50 an hour for what you want me to do, depending on which side of the what they call it, anti-water that you're on. So saying that to say, there's a lot of these unseen dynamics. Nothing is just linear. There's a lot of these other dynamics around why these younger folks is like, is this worth this? But once again, problem, reaction, solution. These people understand the psychology of the younger rebellious spirit. And so I know, okay, you're going to not want to deal with this. And so it can justify me once again saying, well, we can just bring these machines in that happen to already be prepared. These machines already exist. When we think about Walmart, when the last time you went to a Walmart and there was a human that was actually checking you out, more than 4 or 5, then you got like 20 aisles where you can self-check. That is literally programming the shopper to go directly like, hey, it's easy for me to just self-check. So 5 years later, it's normal, and you don't notice that there's no human being that you're purchasing your products from.
The article also goes into saying that the restaurant operators are also grappling with higher costs across the supply chain. Higher surging energy costs, labor issues are driving up transportation costs, while prices for beef, pork, and other commodities are also rising. But at the end of the day, they say it's cheaper, labor-wise, to run a drive-through business so you can be more profitable. I think people are going to be looking for those kind of alternatives if they don't have labor. And I think that's the real motivation. It's cheaper. You have less labor, so you don't have to worry about cleaning up the dining room or the bathrooms. It takes less labor to serve the food. It's cheaper. They can make more money. That model is more profitable for the business.
I had seen a video. I don't know if you had it. There was a Burger King. When we think of these fast food joints, some stores are refusing service. And when we think about the concept of human connection, hey, my burger's wrong. You put onions on here. I didn't ask for onions. If there's a human being that you're talking to, then that human can, go back to the back and fix that. When you're talking to a machine, it becomes impersonal. And then one can say, okay, cool. I don't want to go in anyway. I want to go through a drive-through. But do you have the video of some of the requirements? We're talking about possibilities here, family. I mean, maybe a few years ago, this would have been conspiracy theory, far-fetched. But there are some changes even within this drive-through and restaurant culture that I think is worth us, thinking about.
I just needed to record this. Please have your vaccine card ready to show cashier to make a purchase. I am in motherfucking Burger King. And these motherfuckers telling me I gotta be vaccinated. I gotta show my vaccine. This is crazy.
You guys cannot tell me that you're okay with this. This is withholding food from people. Like, that's where we're at. You guys are okay with withholding food from people? In some areas, fast food is the only food that they do have. convenience stores. These are called food desert areas. There's not really a good place to go and get groceries. So this is their main food source in a lot of areas of the United States. I cannot even believe that we are here again in history. History repeats itself. When you outcast and you segregate an entire group of people because of something that they don't want forced into their body, you are no better than a Nazi yourself.
Do you have a vaccination?
Yes.
Let me see it.
Yes. Why you have to tell you?
Because you're serving me food and I want to see your vaccination. And I want to see your vaccination. Can I see your vaccinations before you see ours? I mean, if you want to see theirs and ours, then I want to see yours. So I can't see yours, but you have to see mine. What a fucking bunch of scam artists.
So if you're an employee, do you want to deal with that? I'm an employee, man. I just got a family to feed. I'm just coming here to do my job. Job said that, hey, you got to ask for this before you can serve this food. Yeah. So factor in literally, let's break it down to statistics. It's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of melanated people around what we call Turtle Island that the only way I'm going to eat is if one of these restaurants have food available or one of these stores. That somebody just coming to do their job. They're not, in on the big picture or whatever. I'm just doing my job. For me to keep my job, I was told I have to ask you for this. Is it worth me getting cussed out every 2 or 3 customers? Because we know in the melanated community, what they say, 70% ain't with the anti-water, so to speak. And so these are real issues. Here at B1AG, we really, we're pointing out some of these things to think about. But, I'm on my Perry Mason today. We're trying to make the case of why it has never been more important for us to start looking at growing our own food, starting to really look at localizing our food supply chain within our communities locally. It's great to be able to have regional supply chains, great, because you have a variety of food. But when you realize that what used to be institutions or brick and mortars that we could go to, pick something up and then go about our day, that dynamic doesn't exist anymore. Once again, I can't stress it enough. I feel sorry for those that think we're going to return back to normal. Not that I think the normal that we was existing in was for the melanated family anyway. But this is our opportunity to revisit now what does a good, formidable food system look like that's pro-us? Absolutely. Absolutely. But once again, so if you're this employee, it's crazy. If you're the employee, you probably don't have one, and you're hoping that nobody asks you for one because maybe your boss asked you to get one, and maybe your homeboy had some of these fake cards up the street. All you trying to do is I'm just trying to come to work. Any normal day here, I would give you this burger. I don't care, but I know if I gave it to you, I would lose my job. If I lose my job, I can't feed my family. And so, like I said, every 3 or 4 customers that come into this fast food joint through this drive-thru is going to, I'm going to have to ask him for this. And then in turn, I might get cussed out or they might ask me, and it makes the block hot, right? But saying that to say, how can we be proactive since we see that this is a thing? I see in Los Angeles, a couple of days ago, these mandates hitting. There's a lot of other laws being passed where, like I said, when we think about these frogs in this boiling pot, the walls are caving in. I tend to think they're caving in like that because there's a weakness on one end. It's like, okay, the dog has been trapped in the corner. This proverbial dog is trapped in the corner. So I'm throwing the kitchen sink at you. So once again, as a conscientious melanated family, are we ready to not only duck the sink, but already have our kitchen in place? What is this kitchen composed of? You got to have producers. You got to have people that know how to grow the food, right? So when we talk about the melanated farmers, when we talk about the plight of them getting starved out in this perfect storm of calamity that's affecting our food security, what are we doing to support these local farmers? Okay, it's 2021 now. Come 2023, it's not going to be a situation where we don't need to eat. Come 2024 and beyond, we're always going to need to eat. And so are we taking the productive, conscientious steps today to make sure we're going to have a food system for tomorrow? Because I guarantee whoever was making these machines that they're going to have in the drive-thru, they didn't just start making these last year. You know, anybody knows anything about engineering, architecture, and all that, they plan these businesses out 10, 15 years in advance. And so are we thinking with that same codified mindset of, okay, what are we going to do to replace this possible robot that I'm going to be getting my food from in the drive-thru? Peace, Granny Ghost. How you doing, bro? We got some real issues to talk about, family. And, you know, at the end of the day, we can only talk so much until we have to take some action. Yesterday, are we supporting producers that already exist? Are we making sure that these young folks that might not have jobs? Most young people I know want to do something, but they're not with the BS. I'm not about to let you take my whole life for pittances. For, you know, you give me pennies on a dollar, and in turn, I'm losing all the opportunities I could go earn. So as a community, are we making sure that we're showing these younger folks that, hey, there's bags in ag, not just producing it, but distributing it, storing it, coming up with new ways within these cities? We got to start using smaller spaces, family. We see that the so-called elite, they're buying up the farmland. This isn't a bad thing because, once again, when we were talking a few months back about the milk crate challenge, right? That big distraction called the milk crate challenge. Each one of those crates could easily produce a square foot worth of food. And so when we factor that in, how many different spaces do we find ourselves in, regardless of what hood, what holler, what woods, what backwoods we're in across Turtle Island? There is potential to grow pretty much anywhere where you're going to get sunlight, any container where you can put soil into, anywhere where you can get water. Are we thinking about irrigation systems? Are we thinking about wells? Are we thinking about, like the Sister McCarthy up in New York, buying property specifically just for the water source? And then maybe, okay, I got my customized buckets for the people from inside of the city that's going to come out here and pay me to make sure they got water, to water their urban gardens within the city, their rooftop gardens, their balcony gardens. Are we thinking about rain barrel containment systems where, okay, for the little rain we do have, to avoid this drought situation, you know, we're catching our water, we're storing it. You know, are we investing in the water tablets, you know, cleaning our water? Are we thinking these things out, not in a survivalist standpoint more so than being practical? Because somebody has thought everything we see going on out right now, they have thought it out very well. And it's very interesting, not to jump off subject, those that had that anti-water, I watched the sister yesterday, she called it the ET pudding. Those that had that ready made a lot of money last year. They're some of the richest people in the country now because I had this ready for you when this problem hit. Can we follow code and have something ready for those that we care about within the melanated community? Having something ready that we thought out. We thought out the long game. We need to eat. We need to feed us. Only us is going to care about what us eat. It's sink or swim, fam.
What I found real interesting with this Fox article was actually going down and reading the comments. And you know, that's where it really got interesting because a lot of people they're really embracing of the technology. They'd rather deal with the kiosk than deal with the person. They'd rather deal with you know, instead when they go to even casual dining restaurants like Applebee's, they'd rather, instead of waiting to be sat and dealing with a server who they claim, you know, gets their order wrong or they're not treated with good customer service, they'd rather sit down at the table, type in what they want to order and have it come that way. And that way, you know, they don't have to pay a tip. You know, it's different models of business are coming to an end. Like that server tipping model, with this new technology and people embracing technology, that's coming to an end. You know, these jobs are starting to become irrelevant to a sense. And then when you look at, you know, the state of this pandemic, these servers, they are on the front lines and are at high risk of getting infected. And that's just the truth. Well, we are here dealing with the public, people coming in from wherever they come from. You're dealing with people coming in from all over. You increase your chances of becoming infected.
I didn't see the complexion of those that agreed with this, but I imagine they're a lot lighter than you and I, right?
Probably so.
Ecology 101, this is how the problem started in the first place, right? What did Dr. Amos Wilson say? It's not a problem that the world doesn't have enough to feed people. It's just some people are eating too much. So to have this Jetsons type world where I don't have to deal with a real example, I don't have to deal with a real person, I can just push a button and have this what it is I want. This is what's sucking up all the energy. Because to run these machines, you're going to have to pull from some form of electricity, right? Versus a human being. This drive-through, guess what? I know most people around the country right now are seeing gas prices go up. So when these gas prices go up, guess what? At this fast food place, at this restaurant, at this grocery store, food prices go up. We see that a lot of the shipping mechanisms are being held up because, hey, we don't have enough people to work to unload these. So all of these costs are going up. And when you find yourself dependent, I'm not digressing, I promise, and I'm not. I think about that ancient story of Yaqub in the cave and what was created out of that cave, and how what was created in the cave became the thing that the entities that decided, yeah, we're going to run the world this way. And we find ourselves where we're at today. And so it's like every time you create something to do your work for you, it ends up taking you over. You become enslaved to that which you have doing your work for you. Family, we were the original stewards of this planet. I do believe what goes up comes down, what goes in comes back around. As above, so below. Once we plant that seed, we will grow. We are in that time where we got to get back to the garden for the sake not only of ourselves, but for the perpetuation of Turtle Island and this planet. Either we do it or it's destroyed. If left in the hands of those who would rather deal with robots than real people, is going to suck the resources. When we think about these cell phones and computers, where did the materials come from to make these? It comes from the motherland. It comes from places rich in minerals. And it's typically these places are where the melanated family is at, across the diaspora. So what that means is if we're going to have this technologically, Jetson society that these people in that comment section you were speaking of want, it means it's going to be more pillaging of melanated areas. If they're going to have this Jetson society, guess who's going to be losing jobs? Guess who's not going to be getting jobs? It's going to be the melanated people. It's going to be the melanated youth. When we think about this gun violence, when we think about, people going in on each other, that's driven because of economics. Most cats I know, the hardest cat I know would love to wake up and just go do something productive and feed the people they care about. But when you have limited resources within your ecosystem, you're going to go at that which you think you can eat from. So this concept of eating, what are we doing to make sure we're going to eat for the future? What kind of seeds are we planting now? We don't want to be on this conspiracy theory. We ain't with that. We want to be very practical. There's this technological system that critical mass of people, like you said in this comment section, are cool with because they're good. They got generational wealth passed down. They don't reap the benefits of all this land that was pillaged. The great westward expansion. So they're cool. Yeah, we don't mind them folks losing their jobs. We don't mind them folks losing their way of living. I just want my convenience. And as long as we as melanated people allow this mindset to control our food system, it's always going to work in the direction of starving us out. And I can't deal with that, and I'm not.
If anything, we need to drive through a black farmers market and make that the normal drive through. Let's drive through a farmers market. Let's set up You know, just like we sit in the drive-through at McDonald's or Burger King or one of these other establishments. Let's drive on through, one of these pop-up farmers markets, you know, and shop there. You know, let's green up our diet. It's time to green up our diet, y'all. You know, we definitely teach you that, how to do that, grow your own food, gardening at healthyblackfood.com. It's a great program. Y'all need to check it out. Get black to the garden. We keep bringing these stories, showing you how our food security is compromised. They are literally whittling down the ways we can get to food. They are closing off avenues to what we can eat. And that's very dangerous. We need to be aware of this. And the most proactive thing that we can do to combat this is to grow our own food.
They're banking on our inability to codify around that. They're banking on it. Because this whole little agenda going on won't work. Have you ever seen that picture? They had the pale people playing chess, and then there was a whole bunch of melanated people under it holding the board, and they say, once you stand up, game over. Everything starts with food. Society was built on food. This is the best weapon of war. A bullet, you know, I can have the biggest cannon. I can have a nuclear weapon, then you blow everything up. Everything's gone. Bullets, you can only hit what you're shooting at. But, if I can starve you out, I got you. And I can feed you anything. And I can control you. So once again, to the degree, it doesn't mean everybody's got to go out and be farmers. But can we codify around, hey, y'all, we need to think about our food system. Are we employing the talents and the skill sets of all of the people within our local ecosystems, regional? We did it with rap music. We do it with fashion. We've helped these people sell billions and billions of dollars of alcohol. Can we do that with food? Can we do it with food? This is why we got to push this black algorithm.
And here at B1AG, that's exactly what we're doing. We are pushing the black algorithm. We're fighting against the algorithm and pushing the black algorithm. Straight up. And we're going to keep singing this and yelling from the mountaintops to the valley low. It's time to grow our own food. This is what has been done since the beginning of time, since the beginning of mankind. We've been growing our own food. We can't forget that. Technology will trick you into allowing technology to handle things that we normally do for ourselves in the name of convenience and making life easy. But we can never forget how to do these things for ourselves. If you have a machine that, hey, we have this new machine, it'll help you, it'll breathe for you. Don't use that machine and forget how to breathe on your own. That's I'm joking, but not joking. Because that's how these things work. You notice how you got a cell phone? Some people can't even remember their own phone number now. I remember when we was coming up young, I had a whole telephone book worth of phone numbers in my head. And now it's like, damn, let me call someone. I struggle to remember their phone number.
We got the time today, bro. This is why we find ourselves, the world, in this position right now. There's never been a time in human history where literally, 4 billion people are attached to a digital medium. Facebook, social media, Instagram, all of that is literally a nation larger than China within itself, right? And you don't get it twisted. Zuckerberg and these individuals aren't running this nation. There's a whole network that runs this nation. Put yourself in Pinky in the Brain's shoes right now. Why would I not try to take this step when I know more people are going to spend time doing this than going out planting some seeds. I know more people are communicating through this than talking face to face with people. Why would I not take advantage of this? I already got all the money. I've already exploited everything. Why would I not try to see how much of this world I can run? Because those that we speak of only have what they have and do what they do based on our agreements that they should have it. To the degree that we be like, nah, that ain't cool. And we ain't got to say nothing. We just do. It's a thing of doing and being. To the point that we can be what we are, be what we were created. The Most High put us down here as the original people. And there was never a time where we weren't. And we allowed these robots to come in and create what we see going on now. What are we going to do to push this black algorithm black to the garden, black to the essence of what made us what our ancestors were?
Well, I hope the B1AG family, they really internalize this message. Now, again, we bring you these stories centered around food and the food system, agriculture, just to keep you abreast on what is going on with this food, what's growing on with our food. There are a lot of changes, challenges, and just new trends that don't necessarily always work for us. So to make sure that we stay food secure, we need to stay ahead of the curve and be proactive in being food secure. These are actions. These are things that we have to do. These are things that we need to do. If we're going to stay food secure, it's just like securing yourself with a gun. You can talk about being secure, but if you don't have protection, then you're just talking about it. So let's protect ourselves by putting these seeds in the ground, having the working knowledge of how to grow, and just having a working knowledge of how the food system works and works together. Because once you have your own little food system, once you have your own little garden, hey, you can connect with somebody else with a garden, who can connect with somebody else who has a garden, who can connect with somebody else who has a garden. And now you're building a food system. And this is very important moving forward. It's very important now. And it has been important since the beginning of time. Let's not let these cell phones and other technologies trick us into forgetting that. It's been a great conversation. Drive-thrus only could become the new normal. Let's drive through. Let's make some farmers market drive-thrus, if that's the case. Farmers market drive-through CSAs, if that's the case. Pop-up shops come through, drive through, and get your fruit and vegetable box, if that's the case. But we got to get back to the garden, black to the garden, and back to eating real food. I mean, it's only life, right? So, Farmer Brown, if the people really, really want to know something, bro, what do they need to do?
You really want to know something, family? Let's hop out of this boiling pot, land on some soil, plant some seeds, and learn how to grow something.
There it is. Make sure you like this story, share this story, and also don't forget to subscribe to B1AG, Daily Bread Podcast on YouTube. Let's grow this conversation. Let's move this algorithm, and we're pushing the black algorithm. Help push this black algorithm. Let's get back in tune with our food. You know what I'm saying? When you get in tune with your food, that's a beautiful song it is. Because everybody can think of and just think about, their grandmother or their mother's cooking or their father's cooking. And, these are all wonderful, lifelong feelings and thoughts that they evoke. Let's make sure that our future generations can have these same thoughts and feelings, eating real food prepared by these melanated hands. Y'all have a wonderful day. It's the beginning of the week. Hey, let's move forward, steadfast and in love, and we'll see y'all next time. B1AG, I'm John Henry Harris. We also have former Brown ENC. Till next time.